my name is Abby Lynch and I'm the Teen Services Librarian here at the Brookfield Library, back for another week of Teen Book Talks. We have launched our One Town, One Read for 2021. The book is Afterlife by Julia Alvarez. You are welcome to come in and pick up a copy to take out. We are also doing a book giveaway, and all the information for that is on the OTOR section, One Town, One Read, OTOR section of our website if you'd like to sign up for a book giveaway. In addition to the main book, Afterlife by Julia Alvarez, we're also reading a youth companion book. So Afterlife is perfectly suitable for, I would say, like high schoolers to read, and obviously adults. For younger teens, middle schoolers, or high schoolers who want something that might be a little bit more accessible or geared towards their age range, we are offering a youth companion book, which is Return to Sender, also by Julia Alvarez. Julia Alvarez will be joining us for 2 virtual visits, one about Return to Sender and one about Afterlife in May 13th and May 19th. So you can sign up for those on our website. Over the next couple of weeks, I will gear some of my Teen Book Talk videos towards books that are related somehow to our youth companion novel, Return to Sender. So to get you set up for that, I'm going to read you the description of that book. After Tyler's father is injured in a tractor accident, his family hires migrant Mexican workers to help save their Vermont farm from foreclosure. Tyler isn't sure what to make of these workers. Are they undocumented? And what about the 3 daughters, particularly Mari, the oldest, who is proud of her Mexican heritage but also increasingly connected to her American life? Her family lives in constant fear of being discovered by the authorities and sent back to the poverty they left behind in Mexico. Can Tyler and Mari find a way to be friends despite their differences? So that's Return to Sender by Julia Alvarez. I hope you check out a copy to read it. Since immigration and being an undocumented immigrant is a huge theme in this book, today I thought you'd read that story, and then you might want some context for that or some real life examples of how kids feel who are undocumented in America. So I have some nonfiction books about immigration to recommend, and you can check these out. The library is open for browsing, or you can place a hold online or by calling 203-775-6241, and we can put your book out curbside still as well. So it is National Poetry Month, April, so we'll start off with some poetry. Ink Knows No Borders, Poems of the Immigrant and Refugee Experience, which is edited by Patrice, Vecchione, and Alyssa, Raymond. With authenticity, integrity, and insight, this collection of poems addresses the many issues confronting first and second generation young adult immigrants and refugees, such as cultural and language differences, homesickness, social exclusion, human rights, racism, stereotyping, and questions of identity. Poems encourage readers to honor their roots as well as explore new paths, offering empathy and hope for those who are struggling to overcome discrimination. Many of the struggles immigrant and refugee teens face head-on are also experienced by young people everywhere as they contend with isolation, self-doubt, confusion, and emotional dislocation. Ink Knows No Borders is the first book of its kind and features 65 poems and a foreword by Javier Zamora, who crossed the border unaccompanied at the age of 9, and an afterword by Emtithal Mahmood, World Poetry Slam champion and honorary Goodwill Ambassador for UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. And there are brief biographies of the poets included as well. So if you're a poetry fan, you can check this one out. It is also available in ebook format on Hoopla. Next up, we'll move into some memoirs, starting with Americanized, Rebel Without a Green Card by Sara, Saedi. At 13, bright-eyed, straight-A student Sara Saedi uncovered a terrible family secret. She was breaking the law simply by living in the United States. Only 2 years old when her parents fled Iran, she didn't learn of her undocumented status until her older sister wanted to apply for an after-school job, but couldn't because she didn't have a social security number. Fear of deportation kept Sara up at night, but it didn't keep her from being a teenager. She desperately wanted a green card, along with clear skin, her own car, and a boyfriend. From discovering that her parents secretly divorced to facilitate her mother's green card application, to learning how to tame her unibrow, Sara pivots gracefully from the terrifying prospect that she might be kicked out of the country to the almost as terrifying possibility that she might be the only one without a date to prom. This moving, often hilarious story is for anyone who has ever shared either fear. So that's Americanized, Rebel Without a Green Card by Sara, Saedi. Next up, we have another memoir, In the Country We Love by Diane Guerrero with Michelle Buford. Diane Guerrero, the television actress from the mega hit Orange is the New Black and Jane the Virgin, was just 14 years old on the day her parents and brother were arrested and deported to Colombia while she was at school. Born in the U.S., Guerrero was able to remain in the country and continue her education, depending on the kindness of family friends who took her in and helped her build a life and a successful acting career for herself without the support of her family. This memoir is a tale of personal triumph that also casts a much-needed light on the fears that haunt the daily existence of families like the authors and on a system that fails them over and over. So that's In the Country We Love by Diane Guerrero. And next up, we have a couple of more collected biographies. So they tell the story of many different folks. Many different stories. This one is We Are Here to Stay, Voices of Undocumented Young Adults, written and photographed by Susan Kuklin. Meet 9 courageous young adults who have lived in the United States with a secret for much of their lives. They are not U.S. citizens. They come from Colombia, Mexico, Ghana, independent Samoa, and Korea. They came seeking education, fleeing violence, and escaping poverty. All have heartbreaking and hopeful stories about leaving their homelands and starting a new life in America, and all are weary of living in the shadows. So this was originally meant to be a photo book and including the names, but because of the status of DACA and some of the DREAM Acts and that sort of thing, before it was published, they actually removed the photos and anonymized the names. But there's great author's notes saying that hopefully in the future they'll be able to reprint with the actual photography that she had done for the book. There are some photos of places and that sort of thing in here too, to give you some photo context. Last up today, we have We Are Displaced, My Journey and Stories from Refugee Girls Around the World by Malala Yousafzai with Liz Welch. Malala Yousafzai introduces some of the people behind the statistics and news stories we read or hear every day about the millions of people displaced worldwide. Malala's experiences visiting refugee camps caused her to reconsider her own displacement. First, as an internally displaced person when she was a young child in Pakistan, and then as an international activist who could travel anywhere in the world except to the home she loved. In We Are Displaced, which is part memoir, part communal storytelling, Malala not only explores her own story, but she also shares the personal stories of some of the incredible girls she has met on her journeys. Girls who have lost their community, relatives, and often the only world they've ever known. In a time of immigration crises, war, and border conflicts, We Are Displaced is an important reminder from one of the world's most prominent young activists that every single one of the 68.5 million currently displaced is a person, often a young person, with hopes and dreams. So that's We Are Displaced by Malala Yousafzai. And those are our picks for today. I hope you'll join us in our One Town One read and check out Return to Sender by Julia Alvarez or Afterlife by Julia Alvarez, and come to some of the great programs we have coming up on those books. Until next time, I hope you have a great week.